Should I be looking at this?
We're still working on the intro.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to GShyt the podcast. I almost fucked it up. Welcome to GShyt the podcast, guys. I am Giovanni.
And I'm Ryan Alexander, and today we have one of my bestest friends, one of my good friends from the D-Bay, from Detroit, Chloe, founder of Scott Elizabeth Events. And y'all already know what time it is. Before we get into the meat of it, we go do rapid fire. And G, you could tell her.
Yes. So we like to do rapid fire. It's going to be about like a dozen simple questions, but you just got to answer it pretty quickly.
Okay.
First time we did this, it took about 6 seconds for the first question to get answered. That's not what we want. It's going to be rapid.
Okay, I'll do what I can.
First thing that comes to mind, but it's just so that the audience can get to know some of your favorite things. This or
Okay.
that type question. It's pretty simple. Don't think too much.
I'll try not to.
Ryan, you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Do it.
We're going to start off easy, so.
Yeah.
I'm very intimidated by the way y'all say
Nah, it's not that bad.
Do it. Let's go.
All right, first question. Favorite food?
Salad.
We don't talk about that. Favorite vacation?
Cuba.
Favorite color?
Navy blue.
Navy blue.
Music or movies?
Movies. Easy.
Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network?
Neither.
First thing you notice when you look at someone?
Man or a woman?
Both.
Style.
Dope. Favorite music artist?
I don't have one. I don't.
Paris or Tokyo?
Paris.
Yacht or jet?
Neither. Neither. Okay, I have to answer. Okay, yacht.
All right, there we
Do
go.
you believe in ghosts?
No.
Favorite season of the year?
Winter. Easy.
Club or lounge?
It's unclear these days. Lounge.
Speak every language or talk to animals? Thank you.
Talk to animals.
Animals, yes.
Yeah.
You see, that's all it was, right in fire, real quick.
That's it.
But we're gonna go back into some of these. Favorite food salad, what?
I love salad. It's a very versatile food, and it's just so pretty.
Favorite dressing?
Salad's so pretty. So lately I've been eating. It's kind of like, okay, so you know, like steak, you can get this chimichurri sauce on the steak, right? So I made some chimichurri sauce, and then I put a little extra vinegar in it, and like it's amazing. So that's the salad dressing I'm rocking with right now.
That's the vibes.
New recipe coming out soon, yo.
Yeah, chimichurri salad
You
dressing.
said
Scott Elizabeth.
man or woman on the first thing you notice when you look at somebody. What's the difference? What is it for a man and what is it for a woman?
Okay,
If
for
it's
a
not
woman, style. For a man, I think I look at like hands and neck. It's weird.
Hands and neck.
Yeah.
Mine is eyes and smile, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Hands and neck.
Okay.
Yeah, like if a
Why
man
so?
has a good neck. Let's go to the next one. Let's move it on. Next question.
Okay, perfect.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't know how to follow that up, bro. I'm confused.
It's okay.
It's all, yeah.
Everything is okay.
It is.
Yeah.
So, founder of Scott Elizabeth Events. Let's just jump right into it.
Okay, let's jump.
Start us off with where the journey began and what made you want to pursue being this event planner, wedding planner.
Okay, so I have always loved like just fancy experiences since I was a kid. Like holidays were exciting because everybody dressed up. It was just fancy, you know. You go to the movies, and this concept of going to the movies. You said music or movies. I pick movies, but you go to the movies and you get to escape like your life and be a part of like whatever this plot is in the film. And I think you can create experiences like that at events as well.
Sure.
So you go to an event and you hear and forget about everything else because I'm here at this event, and then like back to reality like when you leave. But this concept that you can escape in a place, that always made me interested in event planning. So yeah.
You mentioned the theme being like fancy. Is that the general theme that you have with most of the things that you go with, or does it sometimes change depending on your clients or whatever?
It depends on the client. I like to consider myself a luxury event planner, so I do like to go all out. But I mean, if you want to be modest, we can figure it out. But modest doesn't have to mean boring. We can have small details that speak to the guests.
Be minimalistic.
Yeah.
Or something.
It's possible.
And
I think I remember seeing on one of your things you had like coconut spread out. And like, it doesn't have to be anything that's crazy, especially if you want like I think it was a tropical vibe. You're like,
Yeah.
whites and browns.
Exactly.
Still look luxurious, but not
Exactly.
necessarily be something that's expensive as well.
And if you check out her work, which we go have you provide us with the socials at the end, like I've seen it, it's dope already. So I think luxury is definitely the wheelhouse. So
Yes.
we go rock with
Yes.
that.
I love a statement.
In coordination with that, there was a post that you had where you kind of talked about this has always been in your blood. So you said, in my younger years, when my afternoon grilled cheese sandwich, even your grilled cheese sandwich is an event, your juice was in a stemmed glass and the
Yes.
triangle sliced sandwich stacked creatively.
Yes.
You said, FYI, elegant experiences have always been my thing.
Always. Always. I mean, my mom is fancy too. I'm gonna give her some credit. She's a fancy lady.
Fancy, huh?
She is. She's fancy.
huh?
So, you know, we had a marble fireplace. We had a grand piano. That's why I said we should have did that there. Anyway, yeah. So she has some vibes. She's always been about like heavy curtains and stuff, similar to like drapery you would see at an event. And I've always been inspired by that kind of stuff. But when I was young, she had a china cabinet, and I was just drinking my water and stuff out of there because it was like, why not? We got all these cups, these nice fancy cups. And there were so many different styles. Like you see, we got cups over here, so it's kind of like I was a kid and I used what I had access to upgrade my experiences, even though they were just like my small. I used to take the paper towel and like lay it out to have like a plate setting. We didn't have that, so.
I see her at the kids' table, like just making everything nice.
With
too,
the little like
colored
Barbie
chairs.
doll house or
Yeah.
doll house or
Yeah.
you know.
It's always got to be an event.
I used to play with the silverware and see like, ooh, how can I set it up this time? It was a thing.
That's funny.
It was a thing.
The name Scott Elizabeth, was that motivated by something in particular?
So first of all, my dream is to have my own venue space. I want a small, intimate, but luxury space that has like a lot of just elements that are just historic and elegant, and I want it to be small, and I've been thinking of a name, and I've always thought about a name, and I want to name it The Scott. I also love Scott as a name for my daughter, and so my middle name is Elizabeth. My name is Chloe Elizabeth. So I want to name my daughter Scott so I can call her Scotty. Okay, this is kind of going a lot of different places. So it's going a lot of places. But I have not had the opportunity to be in a long-term relationship that I thought was going to turn into marriage and children. And so like my first baby is my business. So I named my first baby after my first baby. So Scott Elizabeth would have been my first baby's name. But yeah, so my business is my baby. I'm calling it Scott Elizabeth, and eventually when I own my venue space, it'll be called The Scott.
That's dope as hell.
Real.
We have a stupid ass name. We call it GShyt.
Yeah, we might have to read that. We might need to call.
Yeah.
So there was a really cool post that you had, which is Matthew 14, 22 through 33. What is it that means to you?
Okay, that's my favorite scripture. It's that story that they tell differently in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but essentially the disciples in the boat, storm, boat going crazy. Jesus is there, and Peter is like, Jesus, is that you? Like, is that you? And he like, yeah, get out the boat. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And he walks on water and all of that stuff. But the reason that I paralleled it to my journey is because, like, this vision has been in my heart for so long, and I'm like, is this what God is telling me to do, essentially? Or is it just this thing that I like? Is it a hobby, or is it my calling? Is it what I'm supposed to do in my life? And I feel like God told me, just get out the boat. Like, get out the boat and see. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to just start the business. So I started the business, and much like Peter, I'm walking on water. Like, since I started, I had a vision to be like, doing DIY weddings and like helping people in their backyards. Yeah. And my first client was a $90,000 wedding. And I was like, I don't even know, like I can't even imagine what that's supposed to look like. Yeah. And like I've been figuring it out. And I have been walking on water. So I got out the boat. So that's the analogy essentially. But I think.
Talk to us about the first event, because I remember kind of hearing the story, but like it's been a journey, and I think what what was that process like? What was it like? Because that's like catching a big fish the first time you ever go fishing, right?
Yes. So my first wedding was before Scott Elizabeth, actually. So my first wedding, I was still trying to figure out, is this something that I'm supposed to be doing? It's like, oh, I do that for fun. I actually went to an event called Our Family Dinner, which I don't know the guy's name, but they go to different cities and they plan like this dinner with a bunch of strangers. And when you go, you have to act like it's a family dinner. You can't have your phone out. You can't talk about your job, and no business cards or anything can be exchanged. So you literally just talk about similarities. And I was sitting there, and it's so dope. I wonder if it still exists. It's called Our Family Dinner, and so it's supposed to be hanging out with your family. Anyway, I'm talking about marriage and weddings, and like, it wasn't my job at the time. So I was able to talk about my passions, right? And so I was talking about wedding planning. And so after the dinner, there's like this cocktail that happens, and you kind of mingle at the bar. And the lady who was at my table, she came up to me and she was like, "You are supposed to be a wedding planner, and I'm a wedding planner. And I want you to work with me." And I'm like, "What? Girl, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's just a dream. It's like this dream. It's just like, why does it have to be a dream?" So connected with her. Maybe 2 months later, I thought she forgot about me. I forgot about her. Yeah. And she's like, "Hey, I'm planning my wedding, and so I can't focus on this client, so you're going to do her wedding."
Wow.
I'm like, "How am I going to do her wedding? I'm actually not a wedding planner, but I would love to help you." And she's like, No. I'm focused on my wedding. I can't do hers, but she's my line sister, so I want somebody who I trust. I'm like, "And so how do you trust me again?" Like, I'm not understanding. She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to give you the resources. I'm going to help you out, but this is your wedding. This is your first wedding." So I was building the plane as I was flying it. You know, I had to just pretend. It was so interesting. It was 2016. I had to pretend I knew what I was doing. And I was pretending that I knew what I was doing. Yes, but it was a small wedding, which is ironic because when COVID hit, everything became small. Yeah. And I had an April wedding planned for 220 people. It was canceled, and I was devastated. And it took like some real soul searching to realize, like, your first wedding was 70 people. Like, that's a small wedding. Like, you've been doing small weddings. Yeah. You know, all my clients have always been in a different state from me. I've been doing virtual planning. So it's like COVID shook me, but it shouldn't have, you know? So I had to do some exploration on that. But yes, it was a 70-person wedding. It took place at a very small restaurant. That was a dinner-only restaurant. So as far as timeline is concerned, they offered their space to us in the morning, so it was a brunch wedding. It was a brunch wedding on a Saturday. And it was beautiful. It was small and intimate and beautiful.
Was that like your get out of the boat moment for you? What was your get out of the boat moment?
I would say the get out of the boat moment was defining what I want to do as a business called Scott Elizabeth Events. Before that, it was like, "Oh, this is my hobby. If your friend needs somebody, I can do it." But like, believing that it can be profitable, believing that it can be, my passion can be my work. That was the get out of the boat moment.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you talked about a couple of different things, right? The luxury, the spiritual piece, or, you know, I don't call it religious piece, the religious piece. Do you find motivation in those things, or what is your motivation when it comes to like your event, your style, your things?
I collect inspiration everywhere, but as far as motivation to keep going, I think one thing that's consistent with me is that I love love. Like, I literally love love. I love romantic movies. I love seeing couples and little families walk in. Like, I love love. So to be able to help to like put that into a single day that's what motivates me, right? So that's one of the things about weddings, but events in general, I think, like I said, creating those experiences where you can escape and also making the impossible possible. Like, as far as like, if you got a tight budget, we can still make it happen, or just not having a vision at all and like me taking you into this imaginary place and like us making it happen. So that's what keeps me motivated. I mean, it's very difficult though, especially in a COVID time, and just in a market that everybody's market seems saturated, right? Once you start doing research on, like, even when y'all probably started this podcast, like, everybody got podcasts, but whatever, like, it's easy to get discouraged when you know, are finding all that competition and things like that, but there's room for you if, like, it was placed in your heart. I believe that. So.
And you think this is it for you? You know without a shadow of a doubt, like, this is what I'm gonna be doing. Oh, come on.
Yes,
You can't show that.
yes, I do, but I still, like, I was a teacher. I did everything that I've ever done. I've been a servant, like all my jobs, from being a waitress to being a teacher to being an event planner. Like, I serve people.
Yeah.
But like, my favorite group of people are like the 17 to 20-year-olds who have no idea what they're doing with themselves, but they have a lot of pressure to define who they are, and I like to be a resource to them. So I kind of want to use this and my experience as a 12th grade teacher to tap into that population and create some opportunities and events for them. I really, really, really want to do something with career exposure, just this concept of like uncommon careers. Like, I'm the first wedding planner that I met, right? I didn't grow up seeing a lot of wedding planners and like seeing that as an option for me. So I want to connect with entrepreneurs and creatives like you and expose youth to that. So I have a passion for that as well.
I like it.
So,
You
yeah.
alluded to some things, and GShyt in general is not really just about the final product that you see. It's really about understanding you do have to you have to struggle.
Yeah.
What was the last time that you struggled, and how did you overcome that?
The last time that I struggled,
You smile about it.
because you get through it. Last time that I
Word.
struggled, I think, well, the COVID has been a struggle period because the entire events industry was gutted. Like, you can't even have 10 people in a grocery store, let alone a 30-person wedding, right? So I think to reinvent a plan, like my wedding that was supposed to be in April was a huge wedding. It was supposed to happen in the National Mall in Washington, D.C., and we needed to recreate something that would be as beautiful, right? But cut it in half, cut everything in half. And so I think, and we also had we started planning this wedding mid-July. It's happening October 4th. And we found out in August that the venue would not be having events for the rest of the year. So we had to find another venue. So the reinvention in such a short period of time has been a struggle, but it's been really fun, and I think that's why, having a connection with your clients is vital, and understanding them and them understanding you and your process and all of that. So I think my clients are amazing. I love them. But yeah, that's been my last struggle. And then just in general, just believing in that the events industry is gonna go back to normal, and like just trying to stay around and stay invested for the redefinition of whatever the events industry does become.
I mean, talk to us about the COVID thing, because you are still doing weddings right now, right?
Yes, I am. I'm planning 2 weddings right now.
Me and Ryan getting married.
We're getting married.
Oh, beautiful. Let's talk. I mean, let's do it. So my wedding right now, I'm doing a wedding that, fingers crossed, will be covered by the New York Times. So I'm really excited about that.
That's dope.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited. I'm really excited. We're gonna touch these magazines. Everybody reach for the magazine, because we're gonna see if Vogue Weddings can get down with us as well.
Hey, what's happening?
We touched and agreed on that. But yeah, it's a gay couple, which is really exciting. They both are minority, and it's just a game-changing wedding. Like, you don't see this a lot. You don't see minority people affording a $90,000 wedding, and you also don't see them like defying all odds of being the bottom group.
Yeah, like the underrepresented.
Yeah. So, and this couple was committed to working with minority-owned companies only, or small businesses. One of them is like a small family business, and so when COVID happened, they were like, yeah, we're still keeping all our same vendors, like, and we're honoring all contracts, because they really were about this life, I love to work with them. And then this other wedding, which is so crazy that I'm planning, is one of my former students.
What?
Wow.
That's so wild. It's like, I need to get my life together.
It's
Like,
weird,
why am I planning your wedding? You were my student. I'm not married. It's just
I feel like that's just a stigma you put over your own.
I mean, it's fine. It's still awkward, but yes. Yes.
Why? If you had been married, it would have been to the wrong person, right?
Why?
Well, because you obviously ain't with him now.
I'm
What I'm saying is like,
That's
if you would have been with somebody, it would have been the wrong person for
It
you.
has been the wrong person every time.
I
That's
know.
why we're here today.
Don't get him started.
Me,
Please don't get him
me
started.
and Ryan gonna get a divorce probably a year in. I already know it.
Okay. But yes, that wedding we are planning for. It was supposed to be in August. Then it was supposed to be later in the fall. But we're gonna do it in January. That one's January.
What are your favorite types of events to plan? Because obviously you do weddings, but you're not limited by that at all.
Yes.
Is there something else besides weddings that you'd love to get into, or a vision that you have?
Well, like I said, I do want to create opportunities for youth to get exposed to careers. I have a vision for a casual career fair, casual career day. I want everybody in all denim, like just a whole bunch of beautiful people in denim. And I want it to be just a career expose, kind of. Where you get to have casual conversation, no resumes, no folders, all of that out. Like, I just want people communicating and actually, showing what they have to offer to a job and what the job is. So I really want to do that. I also want to create events for bride-to-bees. So as they're getting ready, I really want to do a bridal boot camp. Yes, like, every bride wants to lose weight and get ready and all of that stuff.
And
so
more like a bachelorette party.
Oh, no. I want it to be like, this is gonna kickstart my working out to prepare for my wedding. And I want to have like spinning classes. It'll be like an all-day event, but like, we got a spinning session, we got a smoothie section over here, we got like, and the whole wedding party is there. All the bridesmaids are there, and they're all kind of like trying to just kickstart this process. I'm also working with a bridal dress designer. We're starting a bride-to-be box that we send, or you can gift to somebody who's been engaged, and it's kind of like the I'm engaged now what box. So it's a little cute, like little tumblers and stuff like that, but it's also tips in it about how you start your process. There's some measuring tape in there. And I also am planning a lingerie show. I love, but I love like real sexy stuff too. So I am planning.
Buy my ticket right now. What we doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really it is a space for women, really, not for men. It's a space for women because I want to name it weeknight, and I want it to happen on a weeknight because I want to normalize sexiness. I think it's like this thing that you do for a man for his birthday or like for a holiday, but it's like, no, this is on a daily. You could just,
it's like a women empowerment.
Yeah. And I think for me, growing up being attractive was uncomfortable. It was like, you walk, people are like catcalling. It's like, ooh, being sexy is like, ooh, I don't want that. Like, I want to cover my butt up or something like that. And so now, like, when I do want to be intimate, it takes like a lot of energy to relax. So I think we just need to unlearn a lot of that stuff. And the lingerie show is gonna be dope. It's gonna be real dope. But it's like, you got two extremes. You got Victoria's Secret, which is like costumey and weird, like unrealistic. And then you have like the strip club. So we not gonna be ratchet, but we're not gonna be costumey. So I really want it to be staged. I want to have still models, not a lot of people walking around, but like some displays, almost like a gallery. The weeknight lingerie expose is coming. It's coming to Detroit. So
you've been planning a lot of different events, and I feel like you learned a lot too. What has been some? COVID aside, has probably been annoying. What is some of your biggest planner pet peeves?
Okay, planner pet peeves.
If y'all don't know, check out her Instagram. She's got a few posts already, and that'll kind of get you going with it.
Yes. Planner pet peeves. One is a venue coordinator who has no imagination, right? So I'm pitching all this stuff. No, you can't do that. No, that's not gonna work. Like, of course not. I mean, we've never hung anything from the ceiling here before, so no, we really don't even do that. And it's like, wait a minute, that's because I never came in here. We are hanging something from this ceiling. I just need to talk to the engineers and let's have some conversations. That's actually not even your call. You just never seen it.
Right.
Let me talk to the engineer. But when the venue coordinator is it's a no. I think when I deal with vendors who are all about sales and not about the vision, I understand you're trying to make your money, but if that don't make sense to the vision, why are you pushing in that direction? Wedding parties that are huge. Why do you have a huge wedding party? Why? It's like 30 people at the altar. Like, what is that? That's not.
I've been like 2 weddings.
I was
So
about
can
to
you be a
say,
little more
I've never
specific?
really been to a wedding.
Okay.
I've been like 1.
Okay.
So what do you mean by like huge wedding party?
So wedding party, that is, you know, of course you have your maid of honor, your best man, but the wedding party would be like the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, right?
Okay.
And I hope that you have a solid 5 people that you can think of.
Oh, I see what you mean by that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
then when it gets into the like 12s and 13s, and it's the woman, and then the guys like my line brothers, and then it just becomes like a lot of people that the planner has to manage, and a lot of people who are restless because not all of them are even invested in the couple. So it becomes just a lot. Like I did one wedding, and one of the bridesmaids had a date, and the date was like, well, I'm about to leave because you're not giving me no attention. So she kept going over there with him, and I'm like, I need you to take these pictures. Like, I need you to be over here for the pictures, and I need you to be. It's not about you. So now I'm having these pep talks when I really need to be flipping the space, and I'm over here trying to convince the bridesmaids to be down for the bride.
That's different than the bachelor and bachelorette party, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that happens before the wedding day. But yeah, just people who are not invested in a wedding. And I think I talk on my Instagram about like the little cousins that help out and stuff like that because they don't want to do it. My first wedding, she had a son. Her son was 17.
Yeah.
He was not about it. He had a girlfriend there. He like, I want to sit with her. No, you're sitting with the family. Like, your mom is getting married today. He like, well, she's sitting with me. She's not, actually. And there's 5 chairs up there. The child, the parents, that's it.
It's an interesting industry, it seems like. One, because I've never been to a wedding, and so, like, the behind the scenes seems like it just can go in so many different directions. And also, it seems like it's an industry geared towards certain, at least from who's planning the events, has it been like, I don't know, and I don't want to come off wrong, like, has it been interesting being in a female-dominated industry, right? So a wedding planner or an event planner, is that not how it is at all?
It's not female dominated. I would say I meet a lot of female wedding planners.
Yeah.
But as far as vendors, that gets you. I've only worked with male florists, which is so crazy. Every event that I've done, the florist has been a male. And then you get so surprised, you know, like. But you have stuff, just like y'all set up all these lights and stuff, they got to do that at a wedding. Usually those guys are guys, right? And, you know, draping and all of that stuff requires a lot of heavy lifting. You see people, if I want to suspend the grand piano from the ceiling, I need some men to do that. So it's a lot of men in the room when it's time to, you know, put the stuff together. You do see more women in sales who kind of get all the contracts together. But women are making decisions, and I really like it. I mean, it's fun.
One thing that we kind of want to know about you, since you obviously go about planning weddings and events and things like that, who is going to be planning your wedding? What's it going to look like?
I'm planning my wedding, but I'm not coordinating or executing my wedding. So I will have a very organized binder that I slide over to a person that I trust, and it is a experienced planner. But I really, really want to be consistent with my plan, and I'm not able to do that. Like, I reinvent my wedding every week. But I want it to be an evening wedding. I don't want a plated meal. I want it to be a party almost, if that makes sense.
A celebration.
Yes. I want my ceremony to be standing only. I want it to be dark in the room. When I walk to my husband,
She's thought about this.
I don't want anybody else up there. Just him. No pastors, no best man, all these other people move. Just him. I'm gonna walk toward the entirety of the event from far away. So they're gonna watch me walk for a minute. Like, the song is probably gonna play for like solid at least 1 minute. You know, I change my song a lot. I listen to wedding music all day long. But I don't know yet. I really like Alicia Keys' That's When I Knew. But as far as like visuals, I want the both of us to write a love letter to each other, and I want to use those details throughout the event. So it'll be like on different cocktail napkins, it'll be on our tablecloth, it'll be on the runner, it'll be different.
Separate from the vows?
Yeah. I want it to be separate.
You tell I don't understand all of these concepts.
Okay, but you just threw a little word in there, you know, like I know some stuff. Yeah. But it is going to be a lot of different books. I'm going to play on books for our design. So we'll have a bunch of like old books that, you know, we're going to fold the pages and do different designs and have them all around the event because it's like our love story. And we'll have our love story and love letters all around. So it'll be a lot of handwriting. You see on my page, like handwriting is my energy. So we will have handwriting embedded into the design. And I'm really excited. It's going to be so sexy too. My wedding is about to be like, my dress is about to be sexy. It's about to be a lot of dim light and a lot of
It
vibes.
sounds like it's going to be expensive. And the concept I've never heard before. So
I'm excited.
I mean, so up until this point, like I feel like a lot of, you know, what you've done has led you to be in this position that you are now. Like you understand weddings, you understand how to plan them. You obviously know what you want your wedding to look like when it happens. And that seems like it's also tied into your personal growth. What has that been like through this entire journey?
I think personally, I've had to trust myself and understand that I have the personality traits that are enough to make this business a profitable one and still be really, really fun for me. And I have a really strong work ethic. I always have. Like in school, I had good grades and all of that stuff. So
Nerd.
I was a nerd. I was. So I know that. You know, even when I was a teacher, I did Teach for America. So when you do Teach for America, you didn't go to school for education. So you don't learn how to be a teacher. You just do it. You're just a teacher. And if I could do that, then I can do this. And I think if I can stay up all night, you know, and work on something for my students, or if I can work really hard on school, and I've always been able to excel in school. And so if I can study something, then I can learn how to run my business as well. And so I think just tapping into my personal, like my personality traits and like character traits that I have and seeing how they can benefit me on a business side of things and really just believing in those things has been the growth experience and just trusting God on that process too.
Is that what you enjoy most about your craft, like the satisfaction that gives you, or is it more about, you know, making somebody else's dream come to life, or what is that related to? What do you enjoy most about your craft?
What I enjoy most is the process, like seeing something come together, you know? It's almost like a recipe. You have a recipe, you like have this idea like, oh, I want the plate to look like this, and I definitely want steak involved, and I definitely want it to be seasoned really good. So you haven't thought about that stuff, but then you go to the store and you're like, oh, what about this? And then you read it and you're like, oh, and you smell, like, what does it smell like? This don't smell good. My steak, like, you know, and you start to like really enjoy the different details. And I am a very detail-oriented person, and I also like surprises. So I think seeing how we can embed surprises for guests and things like that.
What's the approach like when you first meet a potential client? How does that sit down go? What are some of the key questions that you like to ask them?
Okay, first question I always ask is, what is your love story? And I have them tell me how they fell in love, how they met, some of the things they like to do in their relationship, because those are the details that we like to embed in the experience. If I'm dealing with somebody who's not planning a wedding and it's just an event, I try to hear about what their priorities are for the event. So like, what are your non-negotiables? What do you want to be true when your guests leave? And we backwards plan from that to make sure those things actually happen, and then think of things that accent those things. And then after that, we just start getting into the nitty gritty of like, you know, location, colors, budget, style. You know, you gotta have a theme. You gotta have a theme. You have to have some direction, right? So when you talk to all of your vendors, like from the cake person to the drink person to the car you roll up in, all of it needs to align to like what this theme is that you have going on. So I like to talk about themes and styles and budgets and people.
What's the typical time that this takes? Because we kind of talked about this off screen a little bit, but people kind of just see that end result of it and they're like, oh, you're just making a nice little pretty flower arrangement.
Yeah.
What's the process like to create this event and then manage it from front to back?
From imagination to execution, it depends on how much time you have.
Yeah.
I can plan a wedding in a week. I can. But
You don't want to.
I don't want to, right?
You want to.
But the process is really having access to the people being ready to go, the vendors that you want being. I love a client that's like, this is the cake person I want, this is the florist that I want, and this is the chair that I want to sit in. Like, and they're very clear, and it makes my job a little bit easier. But I think sometimes the challenge is when a client has a vision that is. I'm trying to think of a word. So, okay, for example, okay, so I want to have this wooden arch, but then I want these cathedral windows, and then I also really want to still jump the broom because that's like historical, and then I think we should also have like a bunch of umbrellas for the girls to stand with.
Just like scattered.
Like, okay, but I thought we were going like with a rustic theme. We still are, but I still want all that stuff too. And it's like I have to talk them off the ledge, you know? So that's always very interesting.
What do you think are some common misconceptions when it comes to event planning or wedding planning that people think that they know about, but it's like, no, it ain't like that?
Yes, I think people, and I've learned this just because I've been marketing, like I'm marketing myself as an event planner, and people want to see the beautiful event at the end. And the beautiful event at the end is actually probably like 10% of what we actually do. The process and the production of an event, like, it's when you come to an event and you see a floral arrangement, you're very impressed by it. You're like, oh, this is a beautiful floral arrangement. I need to know who did this, and I want to know who the florist is. And so now you have the florist part, but you don't know that would not be there had it not been for the planner, right? And so the planner, we have to be, and I'm talking to all planners out there, we need to really redefine what our branding looks like, because people should understand the process. You know what I mean? Like we just talked about wedding party, being able to manage people. Who can manage people is who can plan the wedding, right? Because I'm dealing with vendors, I'm dealing with the actual people who are at this wedding, I'm dealing with the mother of the groom, and I'm dealing with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with this stuff, so it's kind of like you have to think about all of that. I'm doing a series on my Instagram called the timeline test, like think like a planner, and people are going to be able to look at different timelines and kind of like pick what the conflict is. And one of them that I have on there is kind of like, okay, I have the florist coming at this time, I have the rental people coming at this time, and then this is happening at this time. What's the conflict? And being able to think through like, oh my God, setup is a lot. Yeah. Setup is a lot, you know? The piano has to come in before the florist can get there to decorate it. But the piano actually belongs at this restaurant, and they're letting us have it, but the restaurant don't close till 4, the event starts at 6. So we need to logistically make this make sense. So like, who's gonna do that?
I think you mentioned the wedding is 10% of the actual process.
The wedding at the end, the pictures that you see, that's 10%.
What's the most hectic part of that process? I would imagine managing that 10% or no.
I think that the most, what is the big percent? I think the production of the event, like you can make a timeline all day. Like, okay, this is gonna happen at 8:40, and then at 8:47, this is gonna happen at 8:48. Like, you can do that, but in the moment, things are going to happen, like, right? Yes, things are going to happen. Like, we need to have a bathroom break in here. If we don't have a bathroom break, we're doomed to fail. This is not gonna work out, right? Or even just the concept of like, okay, we're gonna have this shuttle pick up all the guests here and drive them over there, but we still got setup going on. So then they're gonna see all these setup trucks. That's like a vibe kill. Yeah. I'm not about to have people in heels and dresses walking through the grass. Like, this is just not making sense. So the logistics part of it and making sure you like find all the blind spots on the day of, be like, okay, this is not something we could have predicted. We did not know this baby was going to start crying. You know, we did not know that it was going to start raining, which I've had too many rain weddings, and so I'm a little,
Are you more of an outdoor or indoor? Like, which one do you prefer?
I don't have a preference. I just think it's super important to have a rain plan that you love. Because I think that what happens is, people love this outdoor setup. They're like, it's beautiful, everything's perfect, all the money goes into this beautiful outdoor thing. It's Like even the venue you choose, they charging you for the landscape, they charging you for what it looks like, and then they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, if it rains, we're gonna be in the basement, and it's like, ooh, the basement, but you don't want to pay a lot of money to decorate both spaces just in case it rains, because that's not in the budget. So then we end up in the basement.
That ain't it.
That's not it. It was never it, actually. So when you pick your space, having that backup is really important, and putting energy into your reception space enough so that if you do have to move your ceremony, you can still, use your reception area.
You mentioned a bunch of different people that you work with. In order to coordinate these things, you have to know, you have to be social, you have to understand how to market yourself.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself working with some of the same people over and over? Does it change? How does that affect you?
I'm very excited to have a team of people that are my go-to guys. You know what I'm saying? A dream team. I want to have a florist that I always work with. I want to have a rental company I always work with. I mean, depending on what my clients' needs are, but having a go-to team is where it's at in the events industry. It's kind of clicked up out here, but I want to click. I do. I really do, because it's you mesh together. You work together a lot. If somebody randomly came here like, okay, I'm setting up all the mics now, it's like, bro, like what? You in the way. Like, we don't even do it like this. You know what I'm saying? So I think once I do find those partners in the industry, it's gonna be lit. Like, I'm excited for that team, but I love people. I love working with people. So that's the common denominator. So I can work with any vendor, but I am excited to have a team.
So the journey thus far has been you becoming this entrepreneur, correct? And what is the hardest part in like some of the things that people, and you may have alluded to it earlier, some of the things that people don't think about when one, becoming an entrepreneur, and then two, becoming an entrepreneur in this event space that is maybe saturated?
Yeah. One thing is being a creative. You can't say, all right, I'm about to sit here and finish this, and it's gonna get done. Like, it's not like building. You can't just build it. These are the instructions, and you just put it together, and now it's done. You gotta be inspired. You gotta be in the zone. You gotta catch a vibe. Like, it's so much that happens. And so I think when I'm creating to pitch to my clients, that's like the toughest part, because I'm like gathering all this inspiration and research to, spit something out that's, still me and still creative. And I think creativity is so fun, and it's just not as snap as people think. So having so many clients, and then to pitch 5 things to my clients, and they go, okay, we like this about this one, we like this about this one, and then we really like these 2, but we don't know what we like about them. I just like the vibes, and then it's like, okay, all right, I'm gonna take everything that you said, and come back and bring you one, and then that's what we going with, and then hope that they love that one. So I think that in general, just being a creative entrepreneur, the creativity part is you wish that it was instinct. You know what I'm saying? And I think for some people it is, if you can do everything on your own terms. But as an event planner, everything is not it's not always Chloe's vision. It's Chloe's version of Ryan's vision. You know what I mean? It's
with
Chloe's
vendor and vendor.
Exactly, and all of their preferential aesthetic, right? And so it's like, even when I pitch vendors to my clients, I'm like, hey, this is the rationale for me choosing this person. They do use a lot of rustic color. They do have done a lot of fall weddings. We know what they can do. And it's like, let's choose somebody who's already aligned with what we're talking about. And sometimes that's hard to even find those people who, are already on brand with the event we're trying to plan. So I don't even know what the question was, but like.
No, I think you hit it on the head of how hard it is with so many moving parts, being a creative entrepreneur. So I think you hit the nail on the head for sure.
I think one of my favorite parts of the interview was when you talked about how somebody just gave you a chance, and they kind of gave you a pep talk, and they were like, hey, you can do this thing. So the purpose for GShyt was to be able to give people a platform to talk, but at the same time, it's really about our guests being able to give some words of encouragement, some advice, to help inspire them as well. So now that you're in that position, whether you think so or not, now that you're in that position, what is the advice that you would give to the next one?
What is my advice? I don't really have advice, y'all. I think not gonna be perfect. You gotta do it. You gotta do it to perfect it. You gotta do it wrong to do it right. And I think we sit and we try to perfect this thing before we put it out, and like it's never gonna be perfect, especially when the industry's evolving. So like even if you got it to perfection up until what it looked like in December, once you actually release it in June, you behind again.
Right.
So like you're never gonna be able to catch up. So believe in yourself, believe in your product, and just this is what it is right now. And 10 years from now, I'm gonna laugh at at this. I'm gonna laugh at it because I will have improved so much, right? But at least I needed to experience that to improve as much as I have. So I would say, just fail forward and just do it.
Get your ass back up.
Get excited about the lessons you learn in failure and just go. Like do it wrong so you can do it right. I think that's my advice.
You say you ain't have no advice. That's beautiful. That's some poetry you gave.
I don't know. That's the advice. And I also think something that really motivates me is like, what if it does work? Because I think we think of a million reasons why. Well, if this happens, then this is not gonna work out, and this is not gonna work out. But what if? Because there are always what ifs. But it's like you gotta do it and risk it, because if it does work, wait, that's crazy.
And I mean, I don't know if I've ever explicitly told you, but just talking to you now, I'm super proud of you. Super proud of everything that you're doing. I mean, like, you have a vision for what you want. It sounds like you're super knowledgeable about what you're doing. And like, again, the platform GShyt was created to, talk to people who know what they're doing, have seen some success in what they're doing, and have a vision for where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you check all of those boxes. Again, couldn't be more proud of just hearing you talk about, where you are and things like that. So, from us to you, thank you for your time. Keep doing what you're doing. And we can't wait to see you, on Vogue in the New York Times. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. Speak it.
Before we leave, you gotta tell the people how to find you. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at ScottElizabeth.events, or on my website at ScottElizabethEvents.com. You can go there, book with me. I do free consultations, and I'm not one of those people who keep it a secret. I will give you advice in the first consultation. I might be ruining things in the industry, but I don't know. I think some people need to know what's coming. So reach out to me for a consultation, or just, pop me a little message and we can figure it out.
And there's no limitations to it, like she mentioned. Even though there's COVID going on, she can still do these things virtually. She's got your back no matter what.
Yes.
Reach out. We're gonna make sure we put that on the bottom so they can see it. You ain't gotta spell it. And again, I think I just want to say thank you for welcoming us in, first of all, to the location, giving us all this information, and sharing this stuff with the people.
Yes, Scott Elizabeth's my baby, so that's my baby.
Thank you guys for watching GShyt.
Till next time.
Back.